Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Lowry at Home. I'm your host, Naturalist Kirk. On today's show, Naturalist Elise has got something special for you. She's going to do a deep dive on owls and hopefully answer everything you've ever wanted to know about all the different owl species that are found here in Minnesota. It's going to be a hootin' good time. That was pretty rough. All right, it's going to be fun. Sit back, and here it comes. Take it away, Elise.
Hi, this is Naturalist Elise, and today we're going to learn about the owls of Minnesota. Have you ever seen an owl in the wild? I remember the first time I saw one in the wild. I was a kid, I was alone, and I wondered if the owl would hurt me. It looked so scary. Well, the truth is, owls aren't going to fly down and try to hurt you unless you're bothering their young or standing right by their nest. Are owls really that wise? I mean, we've all heard of the wise old owl. Actually, if we take a close look at that, we can see that a huge portion of their skull is for their eyes, very large eye sockets, even bigger than mine. And then the back part of their skull, where their brain is actually fairly small. So owls aren't really all that smart, but they have excellent features, almost like superpowers, that help them succeed in this world. They can actually see in the dark. Not only can they see a great distance, but they have a lot more rods in their eyes than we do. Our eyes are made up of rods and cones. Cones help see color. They don't have as many of those. They have lots of rods for seeing in the dark. And they have a sharp beak for cutting up animals that they eat. Their feet are really cool. Look at those big claws. Those are called talons, and they're used for grabbing their prey. Where are their ears? I don't see any ears on this owl. Well, the ears are actually hidden under the feathers. They're funnel-shaped ears, almost like a funnel-shaped hole. If we take a close look, we can see that funnel-shaped ear in this picture. Owls have what are called facial discs that help them funnel sound and light toward their eyes and ears. Do you see their facial discs? The ears are just on the edge of those, so sound gets funneled into the ears and light gets funneled into the eyes. What do you think? Can owls really turn their heads all the way around? Well, barred owls have 14 bones in their neck. You and I only have 7. So they can actually turn their head 3/4 of the way around. Now, if they could turn their head all the way around, that would pinch out their windpipe. Go ahead and take a deep breath. That's right. The air just went down into your lungs through your windpipe. If you turned your head in a complete circle, that windpipe would be cut off, just like my garden hose when it gets a kink in it. So owls cannot turn their head all the way around. Most owls have fringed feathers for silent flight. The edge of those feathers are slightly fringed so the air passes through them so they can fly silently. The great horned owl, or flying tiger, has those feather tufts that look like horns or ears sticking up on its head. One cool thing about the great horned owl is that it actually lays eggs in February. Yep, in the winter. It will take over an old hawk nest, lay eggs in it, raise those baby owlets, and be done with the nest all before the red-tailed hawk needs that nest in the spring. Not only does this owl eat mammals, snakes, insects, ducks, and other birds, it can actually eat skunks. Whew. It's one of the few animals that can actually eat a skunk. One of our other most popular owls that you're likely to see is the barred owl. It sometimes hunts during the day, doesn't have those feather tufts that stick up, but it has dark eyes. It's actually one of the few owls that eats fish, and it nests in tree holes called cavities. It's named barred owl for these brown bars of color on its chest. It's different from the barn owl, which we'll see in just a minute. You may have heard this one calling in the winter because it also nests in winter. It says, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" Our smallest Minnesota owl is the saw-whet owl, sometimes called the pocket owl because it could actually fit into your pocket. It is strangely unafraid of people and will let you get very close to it in the wild. I have actually gotten within 6 feet of this owl more than once before it flew away. I could have reached out and touched it. They prefer evergreen trees, so they are more common in the northern part of our state during the summer, and then they will migrate south in the fall, passing through the Twin Cities in great numbers. They eat mice, small birds, insects, and are cavity nesters that hunt at night. What a cute little owl. The eastern screech owl is slightly bigger than the saw-whet owl. It has the feather tufts, like the great horned owl, and lives more in the southern half of the state. It can be reddish in color or grayish in color. It eats insects, small mammals, birds, and snakes, and is usually active at dawn and dusk. When an animal is active at dawn and dusk, we say it's crepuscular. I love that word. The long-eared owl has feather tufts that are quite close together on its head compared to the other tufted owls. It's about the same size as the short-eared owl, which we'll meet in just a minute, kind of a medium-sized owl compared to the other ones. It eats small mammals and birds and lives in thick coniferous forests. The short-eared owl almost looks like a hawk. It's got little tiny feather tufts that you can see in this lower picture. And my favorite thing about this owl is that short-eared owls begin calling while they are still inside of their eggs. The high-pitched sound that they make will continue after they hatch. In around 7 days, the nestlings' voices will become somewhat lower in pitch. And they live mostly in Canada and Alaska and can be seen in Minnesota during migration and winter. Our tallest Minnesota owl is the great gray owl. It looks so much like the barred owl, but the way to tell the difference is the size, the color, and then this white markings under its chin that look like a white bow tie. As you can see from the map, it is more common in northern Minnesota, but sometimes when there's not enough prey or particularly difficult living conditions up north, there have been instances where these owls will show up in the Twin Cities. Speaking of owls showing up in the Twin Cities, here's another northern species that will sometimes end up in the Twin Cities. When we have a whole bunch of owls move in from the north, it's called an eruption. And this will happen all of a sudden. These northern species will move south. And with the snowy, sometimes we will find them at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. They're used to the Canadian tundra that's pretty much treeless. And so the international airport with its lack of trees might seem like home. It's our heaviest Minnesota owl that eats mammals and birds. It's very shy, not approachable, and it has amazingly feathered feet. This picture shows us just how far south these owls have been found during one of their eruptions. The boreal owl looks a lot like the saw-whet owl that we saw earlier. It's only slightly bigger in size and has black eyebrows that help us tell the difference. An interesting thing about the boreal owl, it will actually sit on its frozen prey to help thaw it out. Yep, birds are warm-blooded, so they can actually heat up their food with their body or heat up their eggs to make them hatch. The northern hawk owl looks a lot like a hawk without any feather tufts sticking up. They live in northern Minnesota, hunt during the day, and they fly like a hawk and can even hover like a helicopter. The burrowing owl is found in grasslands. This owl relies on prairie dogs to create a burrow for them. And these small, long-legged owls look very different than most of their other owls and can be found in western Minnesota in areas where there are prairie dogs. The barn owl used to live in Minnesota, but hasn't nested here since 1991. It eats small mammals, birds and snakes, and nests in old barns. It doesn't have feathers on its feet like other Minnesota owls, probably why it's more comfortable in Iowa, where it's a little bit warmer in the winter. I hope you've enjoyed learning about owls today, and I hope you get a chance to see one. This is Naturalist Elise. Thanks for joining me. Get outside.
Thank you, Elise. That was fun. Let's see, this week we have more Lowry at Homes coming to you. Of course, they come out at 10 a.m. every weekday, Monday through Friday. So we hope to see you back here tomorrow for more Lowry at Home. Everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.